Kashmir. The very name conjures images of snow-capped mountains reflected in crystal-clear lakes, a landscape of breathtaking beauty, yet beneath this idyllic facade lies a history etched in pain, a land scarred by conflict. For decades, the people of Kashmir have yearned for peace, their voices often lost in the din of political turmoil. The Jammu and Kashmir National Conference, a party deeply intertwined with the region's history, stands at a crossroads. Can it once again become a beacon of hope for the people of Kashmir? Can it usher in an era of genuine democracy and lasting peace? The future of this troubled paradise hangs in the balance. The weight of history, the aspirations of a new generation, and the complexities of the present moment all converge on this question. Can Kashmir find its way back to paradise? The answer, perhaps, lies in the hands of the JKNC and the choices it makes in the days to come. The year 1947 marked a pivotal moment in the Indian subcontinent's history, witnessing the birth of two nations amidst a tumultuous partition. The British Raj, which had ruled over India for nearly 2 centuries, was coming to an end. The subcontinent was being divided into two separate entities, India and Pakistan. This division was not just a political maneuver, but a deeply emotional and often violent upheaval, displacing millions of people along religious lines. The partition led to one of the largest mass migrations in human history, with Hindus and Sikhs moving to India and Muslims to Pakistan. The scars of this partition are still felt today, as families were torn apart and communities were forever changed. Kashmir, a princely state with a Muslim-majority population, found itself caught in the crosshairs of this historical upheaval. Nestled in the northern part of the subcontinent, Kashmir was a region of breathtaking beauty and strategic importance. The valley, surrounded by towering mountains and lush landscapes, was often referred to as paradise on earth. However, its idyllic setting belied the complex political situation. The princely states were given the option to join either India or Pakistan, or to remain independent. This decision was left to the rulers of these states, many of whom faced immense pressure from both sides. Maharaja Hari Singh, the then ruler of Kashmir, hesitated to join either India or Pakistan. His indecision stemmed from a desire to maintain Kashmir's independence and his own authority. Maharaja Hari Singh was a Hindu ruler in a predominantly Muslim region, which added another layer of complexity to his decision. He hoped to keep Kashmir neutral, avoiding the communal violence that was engulfing the rest of the subcontinent. However, this neutrality was not to last. This indecision proved costly. Tribesmen backed by Pakistan invaded Kashmir, forcing the Maharaja's hand. The invasion was swift and brutal, with the tribesmen advancing towards Srinagar, the capital of Kashmir. Faced with the imminent threat of losing his kingdom, Maharaja Hari Singh turned to India for help. The Indian government agreed to provide military assistance, but only if Kashmir acceded to India. The instrument of accession was signed, binding Kashmir's fate to India. This document was a legal agreement that allowed India to take control of Kashmir's defense, communications, and foreign affairs. In return, India sent its troops to repel the invaders. The signing of the instrument of accession was a turning point in the history of Kashmir, but it was also the beginning of a long and bitter conflict. This decision, however, ignited a decades-long dispute, a wound that continues to fester. The conflict over Kashmir has led to several wars between India and Pakistan and countless skirmishes along the line of control, the de facto border between the two countries. The people of Kashmir have borne the brunt of this conflict, living under the shadow of violence and uncertainty. From the ashes of this turbulent birth emerged the JKNC, led by the charismatic Sheikh Abdullah, fondly known as Sher-e Kashmir, or the Lion of Kashmir. Sheikh Abdullah was a towering figure in Kashmiri politics, advocating for the rights and aspirations of the Kashmiri people. He envisioned a Kashmir that was both autonomous and integrated with India, a vision that resonated with many in the region. He envisioned a Kashmir that was both autonomous and integrated with India. Sheikh Abdullah's vision was one of self-governance within the framework of the Indian Union, a delicate balance that sought to preserve Kashmir's unique identity while ensuring its security and development. His leadership brought hope to many, but it also faced significant challenges. This vision, however, would be repeatedly tested in the years to come, setting the stage for a complex and often tumultuous relationship between Kashmir and the Indian state. The aspirations of the Kashmiri people, the strategic interests of India and Pakistan, and the geopolitical dynamics of the region have all contributed to the ongoing conflict. Despite numerous efforts at peace and reconciliation, the Kashmir issue remains unresolved, a testament to the enduring legacy of 1947. Sheikh Abdullah, a towering figure in Kashmiri politics, advocated for a unique path for the region, one that balanced its distinct identity with its ties to India. Under his leadership, the JKNC championed policies aimed at empowering the Kashmiri people. Land reforms sought to redistribute land to the landless, empowering farmers and challenging the traditional power structures. The party also focused on education and infrastructure development, aiming to uplift the socio-economic conditions of the people. However, the JKNC's reign was not without its share of controversies. Accusations of corruption and nepotism began to surface, eroding public trust. Moreover, the party's vision of autonomy faced resistance from the central government, leading to periods of political instability and Sheikh Abdullah's own dismissal and subsequent arrests. This tumultuous period saw the rise of separatist sentiments, adding another layer of complexity to Kashmir's political landscape. Section 4, A Summer of Discontent, the Uprising of 2010. This chapter delves into the tumultuous events that unfolded in the summer of 2010, a period marked by intense unrest and widespread protest in the Valley of Kashmir. The summer of 2010 witnessed a wave of protests that shook the Valley of Kashmir. These protests were not just spontaneous outbursts, but were deeply rooted in the historical and socio-political context of the region. The valley, already a hotbed of tension, saw an unprecedented mobilization of people, particularly the youth, who took to the streets in large numbers. The killing of a young boy by security forces became a tipping point, igniting long-simmering frustrations over alleged human rights violations and the heavy-handed presence of security forces. This tragic incident acted as a catalyst, bringing to the forefront the grievances that had been building up over years of perceived injustice and oppression.
The protests, largely spearheaded by the youth, brought life in the valley to a standstill. Schools, businesses, and public services were shut down as the streets filled with demonstrators. The youth, driven by a sense of disenfranchisement and anger, became the face of this uprising, demanding justice and an end to the oppressive measures. Stone-pelting youth clashed with security forces, resulting in a cycle of violence that left over 100 dead and countless injured. The confrontations were marked by intense and often brutal exchanges, with both sides suffering casualties. The images of young protesters facing off against heavily armed security personnel became emblematic of the struggle.
The 2010 uprising exposed the deep-seated anger and alienation felt by a significant section of the Kashmiri population, particularly the youth. This sense of alienation was not new, but had been festering for decades, exacerbated by political neglect and socio-economic challenges. The youth in particular felt that their voices were not being heard and their aspirations were being stifled. It also highlighted the limitations of the existing political structures in addressing the root causes of the conflict. The traditional political mechanisms seemed inadequate in dealing with the complex and multifaceted issues that plagued the region. There was a growing realization that a more nuanced and inclusive approach was needed to address the underlying grievances. The events of 2010 served as a stark reminder of the fragility of peace in the region and the urgent need for a new approach to conflict resolution. The uprising underscored the necessity for dialogue, understanding, and a genuine effort to address the aspirations and concerns of the Kashmiri people. It was a call to action for all stakeholders to come together and work towards a sustainable and just solution for the region. Section 5. A New Reality Navigating Kashmir Post-Article 370. The year 2019 witnessed a seismic shift in the political landscape of Jammu and Kashmir. The Indian government's decision to revoke Article 370, which granted special status to the region, sent shockwaves across the valley and beyond. This article had been a cornerstone of the region's relationship with the rest of India, providing a degree of autonomy that was unique within the Indian Union. The revocation of Article 370 was not just a legal or administrative change, it was a move that fundamentally altered the socio-political fabric of the region. The Indian Parliament's session that led to this decision was marked by intense debates and high emotions, reflecting the gravity of the situation. Protests erupted across the Kashmir Valley, with people taking to the streets to express their dissent and concerns.
The state was bifurcated into two union territories, Jammu and Kashmir, and Ladakh, bringing them under direct control of the central government. This reorganization aimed to streamline administration and integrate the region more closely with the rest of the country. However, it also meant a significant shift in governance, with local leaders and institutions losing much of their previous authority. This move was met with mixed reactions. On one hand, there were those who welcomed the change, seeing it as a long overdue step towards greater integration and development. They believed that direct central governance would bring more resources and attention to the region, potentially leading to improved infrastructure and economic opportunities. While some saw it as a necessary step towards integrating Kashmir with the rest of India, others viewed it as an assault on the region's autonomy and identity. For many, the special status under Article 370 was not just a legal provision, but a symbol of their unique cultural and historical identity within the Indian Union. The dissenters argued that the revocation undermined the region's distinctiveness and could lead to a loss of cultural heritage. They feared that the move would pave the way for demographic changes that could alter the social fabric of Kashmir. The protests were not just about political autonomy, but also about preserving a way of life that many felt was under threat.
The revocation of Article 370 presented the JKNC with unprecedented challenges. The party, which had long advocated for greater autonomy within the Indian Union, found itself navigating uncharted territory. The political landscape had shifted dramatically, and the JKNC had to reassess its strategies and goals in this new context. The party, which had long advocated for greater autonomy within the Indian Union, found itself navigating uncharted territory. The detention of key leaders, including Omar Abdullah, further complicated the situation. These leaders had been vocal in their opposition to the revocation, and their detention was seen by many as an attempt to stifle dissent and weaken the party's influence. The detention of key leaders, including Omar Abdullah, further complicated the situation. The party now faces the daunting task of regaining the trust of the people while operating within a significantly altered political framework. The JKNC must find a way to address the concerns of its supporters while also engaging with the new administrative realities imposed by the central government. The party now faces the daunting task of regaining the trust of the people while operating within a significantly altered political framework. This involves not only political maneuvering, but also rebuilding relationships with the local populace who may feel disillusioned or betrayed by recent events. The JKNC's future will depend on its ability to adapt to these changes and continue advocating for the rights and aspirations of the people of Jammu and Kashmir.